right, y'all. You at Twin City Firewood, I'm glad you came. You're welcome here anytime. That little clip you just seen was my 3 youngest kids. They wanted to ride in the back of one of these totes. We've done this before, but I've never really ran over the gravel. My wife was riding a Ranger with me, and she videoed them. And it worked pretty good. It roughed up the gravel a little bit and actually leveled it out fairly decent. And I thought it'd make a cute little deal there. They had a big time. That's what matters, you know. And it didn't hurt nothing. It actually kind of fluffed the gravel up and worked out well. So I expect they'll want to be doing that again. Of course, they got all dirty and dusty, but that's all right, you know. I'll spin you around and show you a little bit about what I got going on here, and maybe you'll like it. This is my little Kioti 3510, 35 horsepower, of course, and I love this tractor. I'd buy it all over again if something happened and I was shopping for another one. That'd be the one I'd get. We've got a lot bigger tractor at work, and my daddy has bigger tractors, but for what I'm doing, this tractor does well. And there's a lot of times I like the size. There's every now and then I wish I had bigger, but for the most part, I'm glad I got it the size it is for tight spaces. Anyways, I was curious if it would have enough power, enough hydraulic power off of the third function to run this ram splitter, this inverted log splitter. And the video that you're about to see, the first 5 minutes or so, I'm running it at high RPMs. It's around the 540 PTO mark, just like if you would be bush hogging. I've had a few people ask me about that and the speed, and they wanted a real time. So the first few minutes is real time, and then I'll speed it up just for time's sake. And it just busted right through it. I didn't have hardly any trouble, but it was all straight grain, wide open. But I come up with a little idea, and I mounted my camera, a little cheap, it's not really a GoPro, but a little cheap action camera right there on that hydraulic hose. And it gives you a good view of what's happening. So a previous video right before this one, I was cutting up these big rounds with my 592 XP. I made a little video on that. And every one of these rounds, except for maybe one, they were all 34 inches to 36 inches in diameter. I didn't count how many rounds it was, but it was eight or nine big logs. And it took me about an hour and a half to split all this down to manageable size where I can just pick them up by hand and set them on the super splitter. And there's a few pieces that aren't so good. I'll just trim off the fat, if you know what I mean, get rid of some of that not so desirable stuff. There's one that wasn't 16 inches thick. And here's another pile. I haven't seen anybody really on YouTube running one of these inverted log splitters on a small tractor like mine. So if any of y'all are looking, this might give you an idea of what you can and can't do. And there was a couple pieces had some metal in them. You can see there. And then here's another piece. And I'm just not going to fool with it. That little wedge on my super splitter's fairly thin. And I've hit a nail or two before, and it'll sometimes knock a chunk out of it. So 1 or 2 pieces ain't no big deal when I've got all this wood sitting around here that I can get to. So I ain't gonna try to mess around and fool with something like that and salvage a couple pieces of firewood. So if y'all ever looking for a way to fluff your gravel up or your rock up and want to level it out at the same time, grab your little IBC tote and throw a little weight in it, or 3 or 4 kids, and roll on. It does a decent job. And you liable to have kids coming from the far side of the county come ride with you. Anyways, y'all stick with me. I'm glad you came. I hope you stick around, and I hope you be back. And maybe you'll like this little video. It's a pretty good little view of the ram splitter there, so you can take a ride on it. And thank y'all for coming. I hope y'all be a blessing to somebody, and I hope you're being blessed. See y'all next time.